This one, Landslide. There's not a bad Fleetwood Mac song.
I like this song.
I like all of their songs.
All right.
Can't go wrong with Fleetwood Mac.
Underrated artist of the day.
I don't think they're underrated either. I think they're right where they belong.
Of our 5 choices yesterday, I thought they were a little underrated, but they got the vote that they needed. Fleetwood Mac, our artist
How
of the
they
day.
beat MJ is, I don't know, but they pulled it off.
All right, let's bring on our first guest. As promised, we are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the SU men's basketball program, Adrian Autry, joining us, and there's a sponsor associated with it. Yes, Paul?
Yes, that's right. It's brought to you by Oswego County Mutual and Labatt.
All right, excellent. Coach, how are you? It's great to see you. How are things?
I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Let's jump in. 5-2. You're back from Hawaii. Big win on Tuesday in the ACC SEC Challenge over LSU. I guess as you look back on the first month of the season, what stands out to you?
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out to me is that obviously young in the season, learning a team. I think we've made steady progress and consistent progress of areas that we need to get better at. So I'm very pleased with that. Each game, we've gotten a little bit better, whether it's rebounding, defense, or ball movement, whatever it may be. That we're stressing that we've seen that improvement steadily each game.
We were just talking, Coach, that coming into the season, this schedule looked daunting, and it's now that you're in the middle of it, how's it feel? Is it as crazy as everybody thought it was going to be?
Oh, it is. I mean, again, we're in our non-conferences this year is very, very tough. It's competitive, and it's not a lot of time in between. So I think that's the biggest thing is, once you get past one, now you're getting prepared for another one. So it's been competitive, but it's good, though. I think it keeps your team engaged.
One other thing is, what's been the biggest surprise to you as a coach now that you're doing games? Has there been something that's caught you off guard, or, what's the biggest thing you've noticed about coaching now that you're actually doing games?
I think the biggest change is game day. Once you get there, sitting in the back, waiting, getting ready for the game, where prior to that, like I was out there, I was with the guys trying to get them ready. But I think the game days are like the longest thing to me now.
You go out to Hawaii and, you're 3-0 when you head out there and you played 2 nationally ranked opponents, 2 really good teams. You're right in both those games until the final, 5, 6, 7 minutes, whatever it was. And both teams were able to kind of pull away from you. What did you learn from those games? And, we've heard you talk about, and the players for that matter, talk about putting together 40 minutes. And then, Chaminade was certainly a 40-minute performance, but it was just Chaminade. And then you come back on Tuesday, and that was a 40-minute performance against an SEC team. How do you think this team, I guess, has grown since that trip to Hawaii?
Again, early, like I said, just kind of understanding what we've been trying to talk about is, playing for 40 minutes, rebounding the basketball. And I thought they responded well. Even though it was Chaminade, we still went out and rebounded the ball well against Chaminade, and that carried over into LSU. And so, again, just a steady progression and understanding what we're trying to do and what it takes to win and win consistently. I think that's the biggest thing is not winning, but winning consistently. And that's what we talk about every day. The thing we have to do certain things to give us a chance to win consistently.
Coach, you played 2 ranked teams out there. What do you say to the team? Like, it's not okay to lose, but, you've got to learn from it, and you can't let those losses beat you again. What do you say to the team after those losses?
Exactly what you just said, Paulie. No more victories. We don't. Those don't help us. But here's some good points that here's some things that we did well. But we have to win these games, and these are the things that we have to do to win the games, and that's what the conversation is.
I want to ask you about a couple individual players, Coach, and let's start with Chris Bell, who, had 6 threes against LSU, 4 threes against Chaminade, so he's got 10 in the last 2 games. And we saw glimpses of it last year, right? But there's been a lot of talk about, is Chris Bell going to be consistent for this team moving forward? What can you say, I guess, about his progress and development, and do you see him as a guy who can be a legitimate three-point threat for your team and a consistent three-point threat for your team night in and night out?
I mean, that's the plan. We hope so. I think he can. He really puts a lot of work in to be consistent, to be a consistent three-point shooter. Now, you got to put a lot of work in after practice, and he does that to be consistent. Him, JT, all of our guys put work in after practice. But for guys like Chris, who we need his three-point shooting, you have to have that ability. I think he's grown. I think he's matured. I think physically he's gotten a little bit stronger. He's putting the ball on the floor. I think that's the one thing that he's really developed and got doing a good job of is putting the ball on the floor and getting to the basket every now and then when he gets crowded. Where last year he was reluctant to do that. This year he's actually swept and got to the lane and shot a couple of floaters and got to a pull-up, and that's a big part of it.
Talking about guys getting better, we all knew Judah was really good. That's why he was invited to the Combine. He's been simply outstanding, and certainly was on Tuesday with that 33-point performance. In what ways have you seen him improve his game? Again, we knew he was great coming back, but he's taken his game to another level, it seems like.
Well, I think on the other side of the ball, when he really locks in, he really sets the tone for our defense. And I think his versatility, being able to defend and then being able to push the ball and make plays, and his shooting is improved. I think people are starting to see, what we see every day. His shooting is improved. His shot selection is improved. Again, Judah's a guy that's going to go to the basket. We know that. That's what he can do, and he's going to put pressure on the defense and putting pressure on the rim. And sometimes he's going to get those calls, sometimes he's not. But for the most part, he's going to, be aggressive and stay aggressive, and that's what we need from him, and that's what he's really good at. I think him overall, his improvement has been, actually shooting the ball, and on the other side of the basketball, I think people get a chance to really see, how important he is to set our defense, and when he's locked in, he's really good.
How about his backcourt mate? We've seen some up and down performances from J.J. Starling. Is it a case, Coach, where it's 7 games in, he's still getting acclimated to being on a new team and trying to figure out his role and whatnot? Can you kind of speak to J.J. and his role and what you see out of him moving forward?
I love what J.J.'s doing. I mean, I think he's rebounding the ball. He's one of our better rebounders as a guard. I mean, he does so much for us. He pushes pace. He defends. He makes plays for other people. Again, I said it at my press conference. No one is playing 30 great games. That just is not the question. So, but I still thought he had some glimpses and some moments, even last game, where he got in and he got Benny a shot, and he got in and he got Naheem a play. So he's nothing wrong with him. To me, he's still, again, it's not about being acclimated. He knows what he needs to do. He's a big part of what we have, part of this team, and what we have. We need him to play well to win. And again, it's not always going to be in points, and everyone's going to have a up and down game, or a couple of games here. That's all how I look at it. In 30 games, you're probably going to have 5 or 6 that you just got to, just wasn't going your way that day.
You said he got Benny a shot, and you don't need to get into anything about what went on with Benny, but how do you get Benny to buy in now in year 3, and get him to realize how important he is to this team? Because we as fans have all seen flashes from him.
Benny knows. I mean, again, he's really, made strides, and he continues to make strides. He's a part of this team. Again, he can help us. I think he's doing that. He's working hard. So I expect Benny to continually to get better, and have gotten better. And he's working hard. He's doing a little bit more, and I think it'll all play out the way we want it to play out for Benny.
Let's turn our attention, Coach, to the next opponent. I'm sure you had a chance to watch last night. I was telling Paulie I watched that Virginia-Texas A&M game last night, and we know Virginia's got a suffocating defense. Man, they were suffocating last night against a really good opponent. I guess your thoughts on this Virginia team now that you've seen them a little bit, and what you're expecting to see on Saturday.
Same Virginia, Virginia, Tony Bennett, like you said, defensively, points are tough to come by, so, we're getting prepared for that, but nothing new that I haven't seen anything new from Virginia, Tony Bennett defensive team. The numbers are still the same, defensively and offensively, they share the ball, they have patience. So, we know what to expect, and we're just getting ready for it.
Coach, I don't know if you can explain. If you have the answer to this, you might make $1 million. How do you beat that defense?
Whew, yeah, you're right. I would have $1 million. Again, I think like anything, you got to make shots, but you got to take care of the basketball. You got to have some patience. You really do. You're just not going to get anything easy right away. And if you do, it's not going to be anything consistent. So I think the biggest thing is having patience, and you got to make shots. And all the shots are not going to be easy shots. You're going to have to make some tough shots. You're going to have to make some contested shots. That's just what it is when you play against a good defensive team, but you got to take care of the ball.
All right, Coach. Great stuff. Really good start out of you and the guys. Best of luck Saturday in Charlottesville, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Look forward to it.
All right. First-year head coach of the Orange, Adrian Autry.
Also catch Coach Autry tonight at Carrabba's, TK99, the Learfield broadcast, 7 to 8. So, Coach Autry does the press tour on Thursdays.
Yes, today's the day.
Everything you want to hear from Coach Autry here today.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we return, we'll get to our SOS house call with Dr. Melissa Patnella. She's standing by. Yes.
One more thing. That will be every Thursday from now on, brought to you by Oswego County Mutual and Labatt.
All right, we're going to hit a timeout here. SOS house call is next on ESPN Radio.